Unfortunately, this is all the pink I have, but nonetheless, we're here to talk about Barbie. This is director Greta Gerwig's fourth feature film and another hit, if you ask me. Little Women is one of my favorite movies of all time. It's one of the few films in the last few years that I've given 5 stars out of 5, obviously. And I feel like she has such a knack for telling really good, unique stories. And she comes from the indie world, so we have to love her even more. Barbie stars Margot Robbie, Ryan Gosling, Simu Liu, Will Ferrell, America Ferrera, Kate McKinnon, Issa Rae, and narrated by Helen Mirren, most importantly. Now, the trailers for this movie were a little bit misleading as we didn't really have a full grasp on what the story actually was, but essentially, in a non spoiler fashion, it feels very timely when we're talking about a bunch of movies that are revolving around the concept of a multiverse. Barbie essentially learns about a existential problem in the world, both worlds, our world and Barbie Land, and she must learn how to navigate and fix it. Right off the bat, let me just say that this movie is a whole lot of fun. I have never had such a reaction from everyone in the theater consistently throughout the full movie. It is funny. It is a comedically savvy feature from Greta Gerwig, and all of the cast is operating on such a level that is exceptional. It really does hit its mark perfectly in the comedy world. In the first half of this movie, it's really firing on all cylinders when it's talking about such timely and relevant topics that are important for us as a society to discuss. There are a couple of emotional beats that I wasn't quite expecting that ended up working really well in favor of the final product. At one point, I was very, very teary-eyed, and I think Wren definitely was when she was with me, and everyone else in the theater kind of had that same emotional response to those moments. It's a scene involving Margot Robbie, and it takes on more of like this indie style format for the cinematography, which I really thought was exceptional. Other points to note: the costume design and the production value of this film is something to behold because oh boy, does it feel very, very pink and very, very Barbie. And they executed everything perfectly to what you would assume a Barbie movie would be. Ryan Gosling has gotten a lot of praise for his performance in Barbie, and rightfully so. His comedic timing, his presence, and everything is so invigorating. But at the same time, Margot Robbie is the one at the core and at the center of the heart of the film. I couldn't cast this film better if you paid me $200 million to do it. Some of the points in the movie that I felt were a little bit contentious to what the film I thought was attempting to do in the first half really come through in the final act. It's one that retracts on a lot of the base foundational work that it was doing earlier in the film. There are plot points that are introduced, but then shortly after they're introduced, they're kind of discarded or they're resolved almost immediately. Will Ferrell's character and the whole Mattel plot point of this film felt like it was needless, it didn't feel intentional, and it ultimately left me feeling like it didn't know which step to take. And so all of that emotional resonance that I was talking about in the first quarter of the film is almost certainly, by the time you reach the end of the film, kind of just thrown away. And that was a bummer for me. America Ferrera delivers an exceptional monologue towards the end of the movie that I really do think is worth everything, and it speaks to kind of what we're dealing with on a societal level in the real world, existing as humans who are flawed. And a lot of the plot is centering around how do we come to a consensus, how do we come to the middle and meet and talk about these topics that are so prevalent in our society, specifically in American culture. And it's also firing on all cylinders regarding consumerism and what that means and the idea of Barbie and what that does to society. But Barbie does it in a way that feels fun and fresh for a lot of the film, and that's something to be applauded. Do I think the movie's perfect? No, I don't. Like I mentioned, there are problems in the script, specifically in the last half of the film, that feel like it just kind of lost its way. But ultimately, this is a movie that you're going to have fun with and you're going to enjoy seeing with friends and family. And I think at the end of the day, that's what people look for the most in their entertainment at this current stage. But let me know what you think down in the comments below. Have you seen Barbie? What did you think of it? We want to hear all your thoughts and opinions. Do you agree with me that the script and some of the things in the final act of the movie didn't quite land the way that they should have and the way that was established earlier in the film? Or do you feel like it was pretty consistent all the way through and I'm just insane? Let me know.